So the last time I drove the Polestar 3, the hardware was promising, but the software felt unfinished. Very much work in progress. But here's the thing, when it comes to building a car, Polestar knows what they're doing. Back in May 2024, I shared my first impressions. Today's a casual relook, a chance to see what's changed since then. This drive is all about city roads, day to day use, and most importantly, to check what's improved on the software front. The Polestar 3 is built on the SPA2 platform and production's already underway at their plant in Ridgeville, South Carolina. Still no NACS port for now, but like a lot of other brands, we are probably looking at 2026 or 2027 for that switch. But one thing stayed consistent, the design. Polestar just nails that Scandinavian minimalism, clean, sharp, and totally distinct. Join me in this experience. A shout out to Taylor, Oscar, and the team at Polestar for having me drive this car and share my thoughts. Let's now talk about how this thing actually drives. Underneath, you've got a dual motor setup as standard. That means all wheel drive, 489 horsepower, and 620 pound feet of torque. If you want more punch, the performance cranks it up to 517 horsepower and 671 pound feet, and that drops your 0 to 60 time to just 4.6 seconds. Very much Model Y size and territory. For a mid-size SUV, that's seriously quick. What's cool is the motor setup itself. Permanent magnet motor in the rear, induction motor in the front. It's efficient and responsive. The right combo in my book. And now there's also a single motor trim that sends 299 horsepower to just the rear wheels. That's 220 kilowatts from a permanent magnet motor on the rear axle alone. But honestly, the real standout here is how the Polestar 3 handles. There's torque vectoring on the rear axle, so it can send power to each rear wheel independently. That means tighter, more confident cornering. It doesn't feel like a big SUV at all. It's sharp, planted, genuinely fun to drive. And powering all of that is a 111 kilowatt hour battery, 107 usable. It's mounted low, so the center of gravity is right where you want it. Range is up to 300 miles on the standard setup, a bit less with the performance pack. Charging on paper supports up to 250 kilowatt DC fast charging, 10 to 80% in about 30 minutes. But the real world story is not quite that simple. Most chargers in the US max out at 500 amps, and since the Polestar 3 runs on a 400 volt architecture, you will rarely see the full 250. 210, 215 max probably. Same story with other brands too. The Kia EV9 for example claims 800 volts but typically charges at just 500 to 600 volts in practice. Only now are we seeing some networks offering 600 amps, which is what it will take to hit those peak numbers consistently. So what's it like to actually drive it? In one word, balanced. The suspension plays a huge role in that. You get a dual chamber air setup with active dampers. The car constantly adjusts itself in real time. Cruise along a smooth road, it stays soft and comfortable. Start carving corners and it firms up to keep you flat and composed. Now it's still a mid-size SUV. This isn't a low-slung coupe, but it doesn't feel floaty or disconnected. In fact, it feels surprisingly dialed in. With the performance pack, the tuning gets even sportier. Not harsh, but definitely tighter. The steering on the other hand feels a little slow, about 2.5 turns lock to lock, and the wheel itself firm. No soft padding or plush touch points, but on the upside, the turning radius is excellent. Impressive for something this big. And speaking of size, don't mistake this for a compact crossover. It's a fair bit larger than the Polestar 2, more wagon-like in shape, more presence on the road. One nitpick though, the ride is firmer than expected. Despite the air suspension and the model-specific staggered tires, 255s in the front, 285s in the rear, road imperfections still come through more than they should. There's room to refine that ride quality for sure. Step inside and it's exactly what you'd expect from Polestar. Minimal, modern and very Scandinavian. At the heart of the cabin is this massive 14.5-inch touchscreen running Android Automotive. Not just Android Auto, the whole OS. Google Maps, Assistant, the Play Store. It's all built right in, and it's fast. No lag, no clunky menus. There's also a 9-inch digital display behind the wheel and a head-up display that floats key info right onto the windshield. Apple CarPlay is here too, wireless and seamless. So whichever ecosystem you are in, you are covered. But here's what really caught my eye: the driver monitoring system. Using infrared, it tracks your eyes and head position for your safety. If it senses you are getting drowsy or distracted, it gently nudges you back. That's an indication for potential autonomy in the future, with hardware from Luminar and Nvidia. So, in many ways, this cabin is future proof. And if you're into audio, there's a Bowers and Wilkins system with 25 speakers, including some built into the headrests. It supports spatial audio and sounds phenomenal. Now let's check out navigation. The default home screen is Google Maps, but what really matters in an EV is smart route planning. It calculates your route with charging stops included, showing how many, what kind, how fast, how long you'll stop, and what chargers are available. I have pulled up a route from San Jose to Joshua Tree National Park. The system shows I'll arrive with 19% battery after 9 hours of driving, including 55 minutes spread across 3 charging stops. Each stop lists how much charge I'll have on arrival and how long I need to stay. That 9-hour trip includes all the charging. But remember, these are estimates. Real world trips often tell a different story. Most importantly, there's no info on charger status, whether they are working, in use, what they cost, or which plugs are available. That's because Google Maps pulls public data without talking to the car. So this isn't true route planning. It's just navigation with extra info. And in a real road trip, that's a weak link. This is why full integration with the charging network matters. As we move to NACS, I am hopeful more cars will get that. It won't be perfect, but definitely better than what we have got today. Tapping into a charger location, I see a list of compatible plugs, a phone number, a few amenities, and the number of chargers, but no real-time status. There's a plug and charge link, but that'll need testing in the real world. The amenities tab shows nearby restaurants and cafes, but again, it highlights the limitations here. This isn't a fully integrated system yet. When I check a nearby destination, things get easier. No charging needed. And for most people, that's 99% of trips. Still, accuracy matters even for short ones to build trust. What I do like here is Google's signature simplicity. If I were coming from gas cars, that alone would impress me. It's a solid starting point, and there's real potential for this to evolve, especially with better integration between car makers and charging networks. I'll keep an eye on it, but right now it doesn't quite hit the mark. The UI though is genuinely well done. You access the car settings from the car icon with handy shortcuts like lighting controls. The interface uses Polestar's signature colors. The gold tone here closely matches one of the seat belt options. Next is the car status screen. It shows the odometer, service timelines, and any fault notifications. It's definitely useful, but having a full menu for this feels a bit too much. A simple corner label that pops up when needed would have done the job. The main UI is organized into tiles. At the center of the top menu are the settings, and the first tile is all about the drive. Here you can adjust drive modes, electronic stability control, suspension load and feel, power delivery, steering feel, and most importantly, one pedal drive. Next is the driver assistance menu, featuring Polestar's Pilot Assist. It comes standard on all trims and includes traffic-aware cruise control, collision warning, and lane keeping. Some options here may vary depending on the package you choose. The charging menu offers the settings for the daily charge limit, and what's a very useful feature, it enables controlling the amperage from inside the car. Besides, it also offers the option to schedule your charging to suitable times of the day or night. The sound menu lets you tweak volumes for different car sounds and areas, like front, back, alerts, all of it. It's a seriously good sound system, and if you are into audio, you should try it just for fun. I'm not that guy though. The Connect menu has settings for Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, pretty standard stuff. There's also a full section for privacy controls. Feels a bit overboard to me, but great for anyone who's really sensitive to those. and there are really plenty of things to look into here. The control menu covers basics like mirrors and seats, but there's also a dedicated Google menu. You can log in with your Google account and sync your preferences. I think it'll be fun to try it on a road trip and see how it enhances navigation and the overall experience. That's followed by some comprehensive system settings. The interface is well designed and I'm looking forward to seeing how it performs on a real road trip. I shared my early impressions of the Polestar 3 about a year ago when it was first introduced. You can check that out here. So where does the Polestar 3 land? It's a compelling SUV, no doubt. Great design, smart tech, serious driving dynamics. But there's still a bit of a question mark around Polestar as a brand. You got platforms shared with Volvo and Geely, and the features between models sometimes feel scattered, like they haven't fully decided what Polestar should be. The cars are all very good to look at, but one does not get any coherent sense of the company's plans or its ideas behind placing these different vehicles in the market. The 3 is very similar to the 4, which will probably be cheaper. The 2 can't be bought new in the US anymore, but can only be had from the inventory or used. Then I believe there is the 5 and 6 that are coming. It's difficult to understand the thinking behind. Then the products appear extremely delayed. The 3 has been sitting in the showrooms for over a year in pre-production form until we recently got to see the production version. I understand that there has been tremendous uncertainty in the industry, but notwithstanding, Polestar appears to move very slow. That's it for this video. If you'd like to see some of my other recent content, the links are here and in the description. Please don't forget to do all the good things, and I will look forward to seeing you in the next one.